Hello, I'm Susan Kennedy of Pretty Peaceful, and I'm sitting out here crocheting on my porch. It's a beautiful day, and I'm about to run out of yarn. So I thought I'd get my camera and show you how I like to join a new cake of yarn when I'm crocheting with Lion Brand Mandala. And my project so far here is one cake of Lion Brand Mandala yarn, DK weight yarn, and this is the Sandman colorway. It's one of the new ones. Really pretty. And this pattern's called the More the Merrier blanket. And it's really simple, but really pretty with this gradient yarn. And you can find that free pattern on Ravelry with instructions on making a blanket anywhere from just one cake up to 12 cakes. So you can find that free pattern on Ravelry.com. It's called the More the Merrier blanket. So I'm going to show you how I join cakes, and I'm going to add my next cake here, and this is Lion Brand Mandala in the Chimera colorway. And the first thing we're going to do is grab a yarn needle. And I guess I'll just put this over here. We're going to thread what we have left, the yarn we're going to run out of, onto the yarn needle. And this is called the Russian join method, and I love it because it is so seamless and invisible. And it just works really well with Lion Brand Mandala yarn. So let's zoom in a bit. And I've threaded my yarn on the needle here. Leave, an inch or maybe 2 centimeters of tail. And now we're going to push the yarn to the front of the needle so that the eye of the needle is empty, and we've got our yarn as close as we can to like thread back in on it. So we're going to sew this yarn back in on itself a little bit. So we just poke the yarn needle through, splitting the plies of the yarn. And we're going to go back and forth, threading the yarn back on itself, maybe 6 or 8 times. So splitting and make a nice little stitch. When you poke your needle back through, don't go way down here because that'll leave a big loop. Just a little stitch, poke it back and forth a couple of times, threading the yarn back on itself for a couple inches here. That should be good. And now we've got this little loop here, and we want to catch that with our hook. So I like to put my hook in there and then just pull the yarn needle through. So now it looks like this, and you just pull your hook, and that makes it nice and straight. We've got this little tail here, which we can trim off. A little bit of yarn tail hanging out. So now we've got the yarn we're about to run out of, sewn back on itself for a little bit. And now we'll grab our new yarn, and I guess I'll start from the green end of this cake. You always have to choose whether to start from the center or the outside, but I think I'm going to pull from the outside for this one, just because I think the colors will blend nicely. Maybe I will. So now you take the yarn you want to add and thread that one on the yarn needle. Pull it through a bit, and we're also going to thread this one back on itself, but before we do, we're going to put it through the loop. So slide your hook out, put this needle through. Okay, now that we've got it through and the two yarns are connected, now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to push the yarn up a bit here, and we're going to move it so that the loop is up near the eye of the needle, and we're just going to sew back into the yarn here, the new yarn that we're joining. A couple of times, just push your needle through the plies of the yarn. And if it's a single ply yarn, it may not work great, especially with like Bernat blanket. That's a tough one. But for any plied yarn like DK weight acrylic, this works great. So go back and forth through the yarn 6 or 8 times like that. And now we can just pull the yarn needle through and pull it straight. And I like to just kind of rub along, give a little rub and a twist along the join here, and look how invisible that is. If you really want it, we're picky about it, you could cut this tiny little yarn tail from popping up. And now we've got this beautiful seamless join. Let's crochet a couple stitches with it so you can see just how nice this is. It's a lot less bulky than crocheting over your ends. And yes, you'll be able to see the join because the colors are different here, but it really is pretty invisible. Let's do one more stitch. So we've got one fat little stitch here, the way this turned out, and I will give a tiny little trim. Sometimes after you crochet it, you have to trim a little bit there. But no weird tails. It's just never going to come undone. It looks great from the back. So I hope you give it a try. It takes a little practice, but I really love to join my yarn cakes like that. So I'm going to keep crocheting and enjoy my afternoon. Thank you for watching. Bye.